My name is Hridaya Nair. Today I here to present the topic long-term sources used in Indian market, a practical approach. First of all, we want to know what is long-term finance. Long-term finance can be defined as any financial instrument with maturity exceeding 1 year and public and private equity instruments. Long-term finance is required by any organization during the establishment, expansion, technological innovation and research and development. The following are the long-term source of finance. First one is share. A capital of a company is divided into small units. Each unit is called shares. Issue of share is the main source of long-term finance. Shares are issued by joint stock companies to the public. A person holding a share is called a shareholder. There are two types of shares, equity shares and preference shares. Equity shares are those shares they do not enjoy any preferential right in the matter of payment of dividend or repayment of capital. They have no fixed rate of dividend. Preference shares are those shares which carry preferential rights over equity shares. They get fixed rate of dividend and also getting back the capital in case of the company is winding up. The second one is debenture. Debenture is a medium to long-term debt instrument used by a large companies to borrow money at a fixed rate of interest. In debentures, issue of loan certificate given to public. Debenture holders have no right to vote in company's general meeting. Debentures are issued under the common seal of the company. The third one is retained earnings. The portion of the profit which is not distributed the shareholders but is retained and is used in business is called retained earnings. As per the Indian Companies Act, companies are required to transfer a part of their profits in reserves. The amount so kept in reserve may be used to buy fixed assets. This is called internal financing. The fourth one is term loans. A term loan is a monetary loan that is repaid in regular payment over a set of period of time. Term loans usually last between 1 and 10 years but may last as long 30 years in some cases. Term loan is a loan made by bank or financial institution to business having an initial maturity of more than 1 year. The fifth one is deferred credit. A deferred credit could mean money received in advance of it being earned, such as deferred revenue, unearned revenue, or customer advances. A deferred credit could also result from complicated transactions where a credit amount arises, but the amount is not revenue. Now we can discuss about a practical approach of long-term finance. For that, here I take the company Tata Motors Limited. Tata Motors Limited has used only two sources of finance to finance its assets and working capital. First, we can discuss about the equity capital of Tata Motors Limited. Tata Motors Limited is authorized to issue a paid-up capital of 638.07 crores. The equity share capital of the company in the year 2003 to 4 was 353 crores. The company issued further equity shares in the year 2004 to 5, by which it is raised to 361.79 crore, and in the year 2006 to 2007 it increased to 382.87. During 2007 to 2008 and 2008 to 2009, there was no change in the equity capital. After that, the company has increased its equity every year till the end of the period. The net worth of the company is also increasing over the years. This shows the company is getting benefited through the increase in equity share capital. The net worth of the company is calculated and represented by the following table. The net worth can be calculated by the following formula. Net worth is equal to equity share capital plus reserve and surplus minus debit balance of profit and loss account plus miscellaneous expenditure not written off if any. The following table shows the net worth of the Tata Motors Limited. The next one is debt capital. The debt capital of the company comprises of both secured as well as unsecured loans. The loans taken from secured sources are more than unsecured one. This is because the company made a huge investment for development in the year 2009 to 2010. Availing unsecured loans for the company was not possible. These secured loans are old loans and carry a higher rate of interest as compared to unsecured loans. The rate of interest on unsecured loan is 9.5%. For the secured loan is 9.75 to 10.25% till 2009. But the company restored to debt swapping from the year 2010 to 2011 and has the rate of interest on secured loan 50% and which is between 10 to 11% on unsecured loans. Most of the secured loans are taken from bank and the bank had charged a higher rate of interest than the market rate. The sources of debt for the company are mentioned below. The first one is working capital borrowing from banks. Second one is term loan from bank or financial institutions. Third one is foreign loans. And the last one is public deposit, also includes loan from retired employees. The debt capital of Tata Motors Limited is represented by the following table. The above table represents that the debt capital of the company increased till 2009 to 2010 because of the investments and developments. But the company went for debt swapping and loan repayment in the year 2010 to 2011. So the debt capital of the company has decreased subsequently from 2010 to 2011 and it shows an increase in the year 2012 to 2013. The next one is the debt capacity of the firm. The debt capacity or debt servicing capacity of the firm can be determined by calculating the interest coverage ratio. Interest coverage ratio is equal to operating profit, that means EBIT divided by interest expenses. The following table shows details of debt service of Tata Motors Limited. The interest coverage ratio of Tata Motors Limited is very less than in the year 2012 to 2013. It is fluctuating throughout the study period. The ratio should be at least 3 times for comfortable services of debt, but here the ratio is more than 2 in many years but declined to 1.23 in the year 2012-2013. This is because of debt swapping, loan repayment and reduction in the interest expense of the company. The next one is trading on equity. Trading on equity refers to the technique in which low cost of debt is used to enhance earning for the shareholders. Return on investment must be greater than the cost of debt to reap benefit of trading on equity. The following table shows comparison of return on investment and cost of debt. The return on investment can be calculated by using the following formula. Return on investment is equal to PAT divided by total assets. Total asset is calculated as net fixed asset plus net working capital. Comparing the return on investment and cost of debt, it is observed that return on investment is always less than the cost of debt. Return on investment is very low. The return on investment does not support trading on equity as cost of debt is higher and equity shareholders are not benefited out of this. Thank you.